Hello and welcome. So there is a joke around IBGR that Donna and Time are not friends. I was at the closing remarks ceremony, but no, we're going to talk about podcasting first. So Time, I am not good at. What I am good at is getting people on the air, getting people to launch their voice into the world. And what a great follow-up to Monique's fantastic presentation on your magnetic voice. I really enjoyed that presentation. What I want to do is pull up some slides because we do have a booth at IBGR on podcasting. It is become my niche. I have we have podcasts at IBGR. We do live podcasting, and I have helped to download. Gosh, we've had over 175,000 downloads of our IBGR podcasts, and we have created, oh goodness, over 9,000, I want to say, podcasts. And so I've got a little bit of experience in the podcasting world and want to share it with you. What I've done over the last 2.5 years, 2 years or so that we've been doing podcasting is I've put together this roadmap. And you'll see this roadmap also in the booth for podcasting. So if you go on over there and take a look, and then you want a copy, I'm happy to send it to you. But I've really boiled down starting a business podcast into 3 stages, if you will. 3, what do we call, phases. So the first is to mic your message. The second is to mic your method. And the third is to mic your marketing. And it's that simple. It's simple. It's easy. But why are people still struggling to do it? Well, I believe it's because they don't do the pre-work that needs to happen, which is with mic your message. You need to get noticed. So the first thing that you really want to do is take some time to think about your concept. What are you going to call your show? What are you going to talk about in a theme, in a season? You know, we do seasons at IBGR. They're a business quarter. Many podcasters don't. They have, good for them. They have over 100 podcasts, but I don't know where to start with you. And so if you think about what is the overarching theme of your podcast that'll run over and over and over again, and then what is your theme for a season? And think about a season as being 13 weeks, and I'll tell you why. Because then you want to map out your hero's journey. And what we do at IBGR is we take those 13 weeks and we map it out into 4 subtopics per week. And so if I'm going to talk about this broad brushstroke topic of recession proofing your business this 1 week, well, what are the 4 main topics that I want to talk about over this hour? And what I want you to consider is if you can block out an hour's worth of time for prep work once you've done your roadmap, and then an hour's worth of time to record 4 podcasts a week, at the end of 13 weeks, what you have are 52 podcasts. And what we talk about at IBGR is you now have a year's worth of content that you've created in just 13 weeks. It's mind-blowing. And so you do a little bit of podcasting boot camp, as we like to call it. I do have a background in the military. And so, yes, it is a little bit of a boot camp, but it's so worth it because then you can take, when you get to stage 3, your marketing, you've already done the work and you can just focus on that marketing piece like Ryan was talking about. So here are your 9 steps to podcasting. Let me check our time here. We've got 12:40. Oh, I've got plenty of time here to talk with you. This is fantastic. So you want to get noticed. You want to think about who are you talking to? A lot of podcasters out in the world, they don't even know who they're really talking to. And so if you try to talk to everyone, you end up talking to no one. Think about your specific audience. And then you want to brand your show with a name that speaks to that specific audience. And then from there, a theme within that. And so we have one of our on-air talent, Robin from Mauritius, and his podcast name, his show name, live podcast radio, however you want to say it, is Building You to Build Your Business. And that never changes from season to season to season. And then his season theme for this quarter is the mindset of a successful network marketer. because that's his ideal audience. The mindset of a successful network marketer. And then he's got 13 weeks now to talk about a specific thing that will reach the heart of his ideal audience, because he's solving a pain point with every episode. So that is your stage one. Stage two is mapping out those 13 weeks so that you have 4 topics within 13 weeks of podcasting. And then whether you work with us or you do it on your own, set it on your clock. Be dedicated enough to yourself that you will show up and create those podcasts. And I said an hour of prep work. So you want to have show notes. You want to have a little written piece to go along with it, so that people will look at this and say, oh, yes, I want to listen more to this podcast. And what we say is, when you have written those little descriptions of each of your podcasts, it's repurposed over the next 52 weeks as a blog post, as a social media post, as a call to action to subscribe to your podcast. There's so many ways that you can use them as you are moving forward. We're going into phase 2 now. Mic your method. And as you are miking your method, you want to make sure that you are getting good equipment and that you're choosing a platform that will work for you. We use podcast.co for our podcasts. We use radio.co for our live podcasts, the podcasting live, where we record them. So all of our on-air talent, they record their podcasts right there on the air. People are listening live. It's fantastic. It's such a rush to get on the air to do that. And then we upload them as the traditional type of podcast, and it's sent out automatically to 10 different podcast platforms. So you think about, how do you maximize your time with your platforms? That's what number 4 is. Number 5 is structure to sell. Are you going to be doing interviews? Are you going to sell the seat? Or are you going to be just doing the show yourself? And as I gave the example with Robin, he's speaking directly to network marketers. So as he's structuring to sell, he's looking to grow his team. And he's putting in calls to action within his show and his show notes to do that, to have those conversations. Number 6 is so important. Do it now. You have to launch. You have to actually record a podcast and put it out into the world. And that can be a really scary thing. There are podcast coaches out there that you can talk to. I guess I've turned into a podcasting coach of sorts, if you will. I'm happy to have those conversations with anyone who is listening to my voice. So you can reach me at info@ibgr.network, info@ibgr.network. And then finally, in step 3 is mic your marketing. And this is where the gold mine happens. This is where you really get those conversions. So you want to build your audience. My friends, be someone worth listening to. That means that you've done your homework before you get behind the microphone, so that you are coherent and you're sending a message that resonates, and you're putting out content that people want to listen to, because you have it within you. But what happens with a lot of podcasters is they sit behind the microphone and say, I wonder what I'm going to talk about. That's not a good thing to do. You also want to build your audience in the ways that I was saying, with repurposing your content. And we have a plethora of ways to do that. I don't have time within this little 20 minutes to go through it all. Excuse me. But there is a booth here, and you can ask questions there. I have a chat, and I would love to have those continued conversations, because whether you work with IBGR, whether you work with me or not, I believe your voice needs to be heard, and I want to be a part of your journey. So please, please, please let me know how I can help with that. Number 8 is profit with podcasts. There are so many ways to profit with podcasts. You can sell the seat. Imagine selling your interview. We have on-air talent that do that sell the interview spot. And because they are then giving marketing collateral and brand association to the people that they have on the air. And then finally, achieve thought leadership. You can take all of your material that you've already written and turn it into a book. Turn it into, like Bill's done, an ebook. We do that quite a bit, turning our show notes into ebooks. And then we have the kind of an audio course to go along with it. So there's so many ways to layer this, so many ways to profit from this, and so many ways to do podcasting. I just realized my background is a little bit strange, but it is okay. You have the message that you need to hear. And I have about 2 or 3 minutes for some questions. If anyone is interested, I would love to answer questions. What do you have? Oh, this is so much fun. We always have fun with what we do. There we go. Guide to podcasting. I see you out there listening. What we're going to do now is transition to our closing remarks. Thank you so much for listening to podcasting. Come and visit me in the booth. I'll be here in and out. You can definitely chat with questions. Your voice needs to be heard. Your message needs to be heard. And it is only your voice that the world is waiting to hear. It is not only the message, but the way that you say it and the way that you present it. So let's get your voice out into the world. I'm Donna Cundy. Thank you so much for listening.